This is Quinshon Judkins. You're listening to the Red and Blue Crew with David and Brett.
Welcome to the Red and Blue Crew podcast, the source for all Ole Miss sports news, rumors, and innuendo. Are you ready? From the inside the Rebels studios, let's get ready to rumble. Now here are your hosts, David Johnson and Brad Logan.
Hey, welcome in the Red and Blue Crew podcast. Brad Logan alongside David Johnson. And David, very eventful day yesterday for Ole Miss. Quinshon Judkins, a talented running back, has entered the portal. So is Jam Griffin. And now Ole Miss fans are kind of scratching their heads. But, David, I don't think they should scratch too long. This Ole Miss coaching staff, Grove Collective, they've got a plan in place. And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Brad. And I think Ole Miss fans will be very happy with how all of this plays out. Of course, we reported last night, of course, Jace McClellan, and we're recording this early Friday morning. So don't know yet if it's official, but rumors are he's headed to the portal, the Alabama running back, and rumors are he is coming to Ole Miss. So that would be quite the trade. And you kind of feel funny about throwing these names out there because you know things are going to happen that haven't happened. And I'm not a big guy in wanting to steal somebody's thunder for being first. And there's another SEC running back. A lot of you have had really good guesses at who this guy is that is set to enter the portal as well. That should happen at some point today, you would think. And, the guy's got to declare for the portal. Then the school, I think, has 48 hours to process all the paperwork and all that kind of good stuff. But the bottom line is, yes, Quinshon Judkins is gone, but Ole Miss has very viable options in replacing him.
Taking a look at what Ole Miss does from here now. David, are you under the impression this was not a surprise by the Ole Miss coaching staff that Judkins entered the portal, correct?
No, not a surprise at all. I mean, we heard loose talk all fall long, and I'm sure you did as well, about, Judkins and perhaps his family representation constantly demanding more and more. And I'm not saying this was about money because Ole Miss has money. I'm just telling you Ole Miss decided it was time to cut ties with Quinshon Judkins and keep their money. And ultimately, that's what happened. And look, this is a new age. It's NFL roster-style management. And you've got great stewards of your money in Walker Jones, the Grove Collective, and Lane Kiffin. And they're not out there blowing it on first-round pick Jamarcus Russell. They're going to be wise about how they spend your money for your football team. And I think they should be applauded here. I said this yesterday, Brad. There's no other way to shake it. This was a win for Ole Miss. It's ultimately going to be a win for Ole Miss.
David had a conversation last night, and someone very close to the situation said that they feel very comfortable that Ulysses Bentley will return next season. If that's the case, very well could have Ulysses Bentley in the backfield. We'll see what happens with Kedrick Riscano, someone I'm sure that's excited to take a big step forward. And then you talked about the portal a little bit ago. How many running backs do you expect Ole Miss to take in the portal should Riscano and Bentley return?
Yeah, it would not surprise me if Ole Miss ends up taking two running backs out of the portal and two very good ones. And that's just speculation on my part, but I could see that happening. Absolutely.
It's interesting. We had a chance to watch some video and we've seen some pictures from the Peach Bowl. And once you understand that Judkins had entered the portal, you go back and you kind of reflect back on a couple of things you saw on the field, you saw on the video board, and then you saw at the end of the game when it did not appear that he was just having as much fun as everyone else. we reading too much into that? Maybe so, but you go back and look at some of that stuff, and all this stuff kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And you know, I think he had lost. And I'm going out on a limb here, but this is my opinion. I believe he had lost the respect and admiration of his teammates. And once you do that, if you lose the respect of the guy handing you the football, and you lose the respect of the guys blocking for you when you have the football, you might as well pack your bags and go on. And I think the Ole Miss coaching staff saw that and realized that. And that's just the bottom line. I mean, you can't play football is the ultimate team sport. And Brad, it takes 11 men. And if one guy has put himself above everyone else, that can be problematic, and I think it was in this situation. And I know what you're talking about with the film and allegedly what happened on the field at the Peach Bowl, and it's all just bad. And I really think, my opinion, the Ole Miss coaching staff got tired of dealing with it.
When we look back on Quinshon Judkins' career, this is a running back that the only running back in the SEC since Churchill Walker scored 15 touchdowns in his freshman and sophomore year. So we're talking about an elusive running back. What's his career? Because David, I don't think you expect him to come back, right? Yeah, and I don't either. When we look back on his career, what are you going to be remembering in his career? What's going to stand out to you?
2 years of being one of the best running backs in the country. But the thing that's tarnished it is the last several days. I don't think you're going to be seeing a jumbotron highlight reel of Quinshon Judkins 10 years from now playing at the Vault. That's what I think. I mean, yeah, you remember him? He was a good running back, great running back, not necessarily a team player.
Do you think that's what Ole Miss fans will remember him by, or do you think they're going to remember the big hits against LSU, or the big runs against LSU, the big game this past year against Mississippi State, his freshman year, how well he played midway through the year when he came on strong? Don't you think Ole Miss fans may let bygones be bygones? Do you think they're going to hold on to this one?
No, I think your last impression is probably your strongest, and I don't know. I mean, I can't predict the future. I do believe this football program is on the verge of accomplishing even greater things. And, he may be looked at like the fifth Beatle, the guy that was in the band that quit right before the Beatles hit it big. That may be what Quinshon Judkins is remembered as. I don't know. There's more in his book to be written. He's going to go somewhere. He's going to run the ball for somebody. And, that's kind of how I see it right now. But again, I don't think anybody's sweating this, and nobody should be. Lane Kiffin is building a program to compete for a national title. And, with all due respect to all running backs out there, running back's not the most important position on the field. Running back is a replaceable position. And he's a good one. And we wish him nothing but the best. But I don't think he's going to have a statue outside of the Vault anytime soon.
David, one of the Beatles that is absolutely going to be remembered forever, and that's Jackson Dart. We have not visited since Jackson Dart put the post out that he would be coming back. A huge part of that 24 season, and that's a player I think Ole Miss pretty much had to have.
No doubt about it. Jackson is the captain of this team, and he's the leader of this team. And Jackson, while he hasn't said anything publicly about Quinshon's departure, boy, did he on Twitter yesterday when he posted up the video of Tom Brady talking about playing with selfish teammates. And I think that said it all. And when Jackson Dart considers you to be a selfish teammate, you've got issues. And I think these, and again, somebody's going to roll the dice, probably Auburn, and take Quinshon. And Quinshon's going to have big games again in his career. But some teams are going to look at all of the chatter surrounding his departure from Ole Miss, and they're not going to take him. So I think where he goes is going to be limited to an extent.
So you think without question that the off the field issues that are being brought to light, other teams are going to pay attention to that?
Oh, 100%. Definitely. I mean, if you look at our message board, whenever we get a guy in from the transfer portal, if anybody's had anything questionable in the past, it's a matter of minutes before somebody posts up, what about this or what about that? And that's going to be an issue. It certainly is. Now, he may be so good that it's not an issue to a lot of people, but it will be an issue to some.
Definitely a lot happening with Ole Miss football, and the Peach Bowl is just a few days from us. So it will be a 24/7 cycle, no pun intended, of college football and specifically Ole Miss, as we'll wait to see what Ole Miss does in the portal, not only with running backs, David, but that offensive line is an absolute area of question. I know there's a lot going on behind the scenes with that offensive line. And also, switching gears real quick, Austin Simmons' story, wonderful story that you had for him, an exclusive interview, also an exclusive interview with Chris Pupal. I know that'll be coming soon as well. But real quick, offensive line, definitely an area of emphasis.
Yeah, and this is a big weekend potentially. You've got Percy Lewis who is going to arrive in Oxford today. Look, there's some scuttlebutt out there that Lance Hurd may end up making his way to Oxford shortly. I don't know if it's going to be this weekend. I haven't been able to nail that down yet. He is the freshman from LSU that was a 5-star prospect at Neville High School from Monroe. And, those are the kind of offensive linemen that you need to add to the mix for Ole Miss to really take whatever this next step is forward. And, there's some scuttlebutt about Diego Pounds from North Carolina. I haven't been able to nail that down yet either as to whether or not he's coming this weekend. But you see they're working. And when Lane Kiffin starts working on something in the transfer portal, generally, Brad, it plays out very favorably.
I want to clear something as best we can. I have a ton of people that have sent me messages, and they'll say, well, now that you don't have to spend X amount of dollars on Quinshon Judkins, is it fair to say that opens up to pay for offensive linemen and wide receivers and defensive backs? And my answer is the money's there either way.
Yeah.
I think people are kind of sometimes getting too tied up into who's coming versus who's going. That money is available regardless of the situation.
Yeah. And the thing you need to know about Quinshon, this was an Ole Miss decision, okay? I mean, they could have paid him 1 point whatever and continued to cowtail to him, and he would have still been your running back. Now that's just my opinion. And I've seen some loose posts flying around other sites on the network of Ole Miss must be broke. Folks, that is not the case. That is not the case. Ole Miss has operating capital in the Grove Collective. They're just using their money wisely. Wisely. I'm telling you, nobody lost any sleep last night over Judkins. And if you did, you shouldn't have. And I was eating at a Mexican restaurant last night, and there was this guy. I hope he was a subscriber to our site. A couple tables down, and they had Quinshon up on the TV. The SEC network was on, and he's got his phone out, and I could tell he's on a message board, and he's posting and everything. And this guy looked frantic, and I'm like, why? Why are you frantic? Don't be that way. Somebody else is going to be carrying the rock next year alongside Ulysses Bentley and Kedrick Riscano. And this person is going to be fine in this offense. That's just the way I see it. And you know, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but you know, that's just a terrible situation. You know, I can go back to last year at the TaxAct Texas Bowl. And I had the father of a player tell me this. After the game, his son, who plays on this football team, was passing around a football, a TaxAct Texas Bowl football, to have it autographed by everybody in the locker room. And every player was signing it and passing it on and everything. It got to Quinshon and he wouldn't sign it. Wouldn't sign it. Now, to me, that's kind of not. I don't even know the word to describe that. This guy just blocked his butt off for you all night long, did it all year long, and he wants a keepsake and you won't sign it. You know, I've been waiting a little while to tell that story, but true story, Brad. True story.
Yeah, I think the telltale sign for me is the coaching staff, quite frankly, just was not surprised by this. And that should tell the Ole Miss fans all they need to know.
Yeah, I don't think the fan base really, not the ones who follow everything, was very surprised either.
David, I want to give you the opportunity to talk about some of the pieces that have come out and are coming out from reps247.com. They're lengthy, they're really good, and it gives the Ole Miss fans an opportunity to kind of get to know some of the new players.
Yeah, you know, I was particularly proud of the Austin Simmons piece. It kind of got lost yesterday after the Judkins news broke. Yesterday afternoon, I spent a little time with Paul, Chris Paul, the transfer linebacker from Arkansas. And Brad, I got to tell you, man, what a great kid. I mean, fantastic individual. I know his dad is a Navy vet, and you could tell he had a really good upbringing. And Paul tells me, I asked him, I said, you know, what is the number one thing that you can bring to this defense? Because we all know he's a tackling machine. And he didn't hesitate. He said leadership. He said, I'm going to be a leader on and off the field. And you know, that's going to be interesting to see how that role plays out. You know, here's a transfer guy coming in with a bunch of guys who've already been here, but he's already saying, hey, I'm coming in to be a leader. And you got to like that. And he gets into a lot of stuff about, you know, how Pete Golding swayed him to Oxford. I think it's an interesting read, and I can't wait to get it up here later on this morning.
Yeah, it's really good. In regards to the Austin Simmons piece, I thought it was great, and look forward to reading the Poopall piece as well. That's a great family, and that's a guy. You know, at least his dad. I mean, almost everything that someone puts out about Ole Miss, he's reposting it, and he's very excited about this Lane Kiffin team, and I think there's a good cause for the fans to be excited as well. The Ole Miss women's basketball team beats Alabama last night, David, 1-0 in the SEC, but boy, do they have a challenge on Sunday. They host number 7 LSU. At least they're number 7 now. They may be ranked higher by then. They dismantled Missouri last night to win their first game of the conference season, that is. But Coach Mulkey will bring her team, the defending national champions. Great opportunity to come out to a whiteout at the Pavilion on Sunday afternoon.
Question is, what will Kim Mulkey be wearing? if it was before the holidays, I would have said she would just have a Christmas tree shirt on or something. But she knows how to dress. I'll give her that. Something glittery, something shiny, I am sure. But I watched both games last night. Ole Miss has a really good defense, really almost great defense. And to go into Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa and buckle down and hold Alabama to 45 points. You and I talked briefly about this, I think, before the game yesterday. That was not the outcome we were expecting.
No.
Alabama had already beaten Louisville, a team that had beaten Ole Miss. Kudos to Yo and what she did, because that was something else. And then I flipped the channel and I watched LSU run up and down the floor of Missouri all night. And, that's going to be quite a challenge, no doubt. But, I mean, look, and I'll do this for you, an appeal to the fan base. Sunday afternoon, please fill the pavilion up. And in Tuscaloosa last night, Brad, there probably wasn't 200 people in the whole place.
Right.
I mean, it was empty. And Alabama played like they were playing in front of an empty crowd. And they're a good basketball team. You don't want Ole Miss to fall victim to that. And if you go back to last year when South Carolina came in here and Ole Miss took them to overtime, great crowd inside the pavilion, and the team really fed off the energy. All I'm saying is give your Rebels a chance Saturday to knock off LSU. Give them a chance. If you're not doing anything Sunday afternoon, load the kids, the wife, the cousins, everybody you can up in the car and get inside the pavilion. And I'm going to tell you, man, Yo is the kind of coach. A lot of coaches say that, hey, come see us play. We need your support. Yo means it and appreciates it.
Yeah, and watching that game last night, Ole Miss played so well defensively, but continues to struggle offensively. They're going to have to figure that out on Sunday.
I think she's got to get Madison Scott more into a scoring role. And for whatever reason, I think Madison's role is kind of changed a little bit, but I don't know that necessarily it should have. I'd like to see Madison Scott getting fed the basketball more in the paint than what I'm seeing.
And real quick, David, just a few minutes left. Jared Redding heading up to Knoxville. It's the biggest Ole Miss basketball game, at least in a couple of years. The undefeated Rebels face a top 10 ranked Tennessee Volunteer team and yet another opportunity.
Yeah, that's exactly why we're going. And I called Jared up and I asked him, I said, hey, what do you think about going to Knoxville? Do you want to go? And he was like, yeah. So I called CBS and we got the ball rolling on his expenses. And, we're expecting a very interesting game. And it's too early in the year to say it's a season-defining game. But if Ole Miss wins that game, it could be. It really could be. And we're excited about that. Jared will be heading out a couple hours from now on his way to Knoxville. So we're going to bring you all that coverage tomorrow. I think tip-off is at 5 o'clock Central Time. And, just can't say enough. Thank you all to the subscribers. You all mean the world to us. And, it's a wonderful time to be a part of what we've got going on here at 24/7 Sports.
There's no doubt there's a lot coming with the podcast as well. So a lot of changes. We got some other things working from an advertiser perspective, but we couldn't do it without you. And we're grateful for our sponsor with College Corner Store. Excited about continuing with them. Scott and his team do a wonderful job. They have the brick and mortar store down in Jackson and Ridgeland. Of course, we want you to support the one in Oxford right off of Sisk Avenue across from the elementary school. And it's just down from the Wendy's on the left to the Oxford Common Center.
Hey, Brad, you think there's some number 4 jerseys on sale right now?
Hey, look, just take you some duct tape, put it on the back, and then write in Perkins. And you got a Suntarine Perkins jersey. So, yeah, okay. They're probably making some changes. But, exciting times for Ole Miss. Obviously, a little bit of turbulence yesterday. But from everybody that we've talked to, don't worry. Ride it out. It's going to be okay. We'll keep you abreast of everything on Rebs247.com. That's an affiliate of 24/7 Sports. David Johnson, I'm Brad Logan. We'll talk to you soon right here on the Red and Blue Crew podcast.
Howdy, toddy.
College Corner is headed to Oxford. Stop by their new location in the Oxford Commons off Sisk Avenue. They'll have 4,000 square feet of Rebel gear ready for your trip to the Grove. On your next trip to Oxford, stop by the College Corner or our other great locations in Ridgeland and Flowood. Hats, shirts, polos, pullovers, sweats, t-shirts. College Corner has it all. And as always, you can visit us online at collegecornerstore.com. That's collegecornerstore.com. The College Corner, where your game day apparel meets.
It is a place which exerts an extraordinary pull on all who have walked its hallowed ground. Thousands come each year, and yet no one ever really leaves. Ole Miss is for life, a major university with the familiar intimacy of family. Friendships that are more than friendships, moments that are more than moments. An autumn celebration on a Saturday afternoon in the Grove. Contests waged and triumphs savored. With our largest freshman class, soaring honors college, national reputation for academics and research, our pride is overflowing. Today, more than ever, for all who have ever called this magical place home. You never leave Ole Miss.
You've been listening to the Red and Blue Crew podcast with your hosts, David Johnson and Brad Logan, the source for all Ole Miss sports news, rumors, and innuendo. From the Inside the Rebels studios, join us next time right here on the Red and Blue Crew podcast.